Hi everyone, welcome to another time-lapse video. This is sketch number 7 from my Sketching Ho Chi Minh City series of tutorials. Now this is actually a condensed version of the full-length tutorial that I have created for my patron supporters as well as for sale on Gumroad. So right now you are just watching the time-lapse version. In this tutorial I'm sketching the City Hall of Ho Chi Minh City. So earlier tutorials I used pencils, now I'm switching to pen again. This is a rather complicated building to draw in the sense that there are a lot of details, so it's about simplification. A common question that I get quite often is how do I simplify what I am drawing? Generally speaking, I try to draw the main shapes first, like the structure of the building, which is, for example, what you are seeing right now. I'm drawing that section of the building by drawing the long vertical lines. I try to draw long lines first, get those lines out, and then subdivide the structure, and then draw the details. So as I'm drawing the details, I will see how busy that sketch is going to look. If I'm drawing on a small piece of paper, I may not have a lot of space to draw details. And if I want to keep on drawing those details, the sketch is going to look too busy. So I stop drawing when I feel that the sketch is looking too busy. So the size of the paper that you're working on would determine how much detail you can add. If you are working on a large piece of paper, then you can certainly add more detail. If you are working on a small piece of paper, then there is a limit to how much detail you can add. And so if you want to practice simplification, I would suggest you try drawing on smaller sketchbooks, smaller pieces of paper. That would help train you, help prevent you from drawing too much detail. So when you're drawing on smaller pieces of paper, you have to get the main shapes out first in order to make the subject that you are drawing recognizable. And that, I think, is the most important point, which is clarity. So when you're drawing, you need clarity. It doesn't matter if you are scribbling some lines. As long as those scribbled lines look like something that you're drawing, I think you have done the job. You can see right now that I have drawn the left side of the building. I've drawn the main structure first, which is the outline of that structure, and now I'm adding the details. I'm adding the balconies on the wall of the structure, and now the windows. I know where to add the windows because I am actually subdividing that wall in my mind, so I know the windows are spaced somewhat like that. I count the number of windows and then I space them accordingly. If you are drawing a building with a lot of windows, you may not need to draw the number of windows accurately. For example, if there are like 20 windows, you don't have to draw all 20. You can draw maybe 16, 15. It doesn't really matter as long as you get the impression of the building in. For example, if a building has 20 windows, it means that the building has a lot of windows. So you just have to draw in such a way that makes the person who is looking at your sketch feel that that building has a lot of windows. I think that sketch has done its job. And right now I'm adding watercolor. I'm using yellow ochre with some red. So I like this blend of red with yellow ochre. And for the ground, for the road, I'm using French ultramarine with some red. French ultramarine is granulating. I probably added too much water for the sky. That's why you see that very patchy look, which is not very nice. On the right side of the sketch, in the sky, I use cerulean blue, which is a color that I'm beginning to love more. It's really pretty. And for the plants right in front of the building, I use phthalo green mixed with some red to get that really dark shade of green. Some plants are really very dark. And now I'm putting some shadows beneath the bikes and the car. If you observe in real life, the shadow beneath bikes, beneath vehicles, they are usually close to black. So the contrast is going to be very strong there. Now, for this completed sketch, I actually added another layer of burnt sienna and French ultramarine to the road because I want that extra contrast. I want the contrast between the road and the building. So earlier on, the wash was too light, so I wasn't able to get the building to really pop out because there's not a lot of contrast. Now, to get this building to pop out, instead of making the building more colorful, I make the road darker. So that's why, by contrast, the building, it actually is more eye-catching now, in a sense. Coloring these bikers is very difficult because the shapes are very small. I'm using a big brush, so it's very difficult to get inside the shape. If I have a small brush, then it would be easier and it would be neater. But if I'm drawing on location, this is probably how it's going to look like. So that's all for this sketch. If you want to help me make more videos like this, you can support me on Patreon and Gumroad. You get to watch the full-length tutorials when they are out. The links to Patreon and Gumroad are in the video description below, so you can check them out there. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section. If not, see you in the next video. Bye!